Welcome back to the iGaming NEXT Breakfast Chat here. Good morning to you, Bogdan. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Fine, thank you. Shiny day, so it's a good weather outside. So looking forward to the meeting today and see what's going on in our beautiful gaming world.
Yes, absolutely. Another week in paradise, let's say. I woke up sick as a dog this morning, but fortunately it's audio only on this platform, so you don't have to see my tired face today. But it's all good. It's all good. And good morning to you, Jan, as well. How are you?
Hello, everybody. Doing pretty good. I'm having this session as a warm-up because I have today one additional event from Zoltan, you know him, with this Central European Gaming, and also like 4 calls. People are getting crazy around the events. So yeah, it's gonna be a nice day today.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, we're edging closer now to some of the events happening here in September. Obviously, Barcelona happening, the Power 50 is happening next week in Marbella, and then obviously IGB in Amsterdam. So it's a packed September we have in front of us. Which events are you planning to attend here in September, John?
Oh, we actually gonna do some of these private events that the guys at Sigma are organizing, these dinners. They proved quite useful, I would say, very direct approach. Barcelona, IGB, Ukrainian Gaming Week, all those are ticked in the box, and October we plan as well, but you know, it's also depending on the situation because right now some countries are reporting, you know, rising cases in COVID, etc., etc. So we definitely want to go, but if the country goes into some kind of lockdown and there are some cool down periods like in the US, then that won't be ideal.
Of course, it's a touch and go situation, of course, with the restrictions, and it's cool. I like the Sigma dinners that they are doing quite regularly now. I think they're doing like twice per month now in different countries. It's a good concept, more personal and easier to get to know people you haven't met before. I suppose, other than just the large scale exhibitions.
Well, the best thing is that when you get the people at the table, they cannot run away. So either you click and it works out, or just you understand that you're never gonna work with, with them ever.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. So which ones? I think they are doing Serbia this month and Spain as well as I think.
Yes, it's we're doing Serbia. We have a lot of customers in the region, and we're growing there. So generally, the Croatia guys will be there as well. So it will be a nice localized event.
Yes, brilliant, brilliant. Good morning to you, Katie, as well. Nice to have you back here. How are you doing this morning? How is Spain?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm happy to be back. Spain is good. It's very hot, nice. Still summer here. I am really looking forward to Barcelona. I saw that Sigma is doing a dinner in Barcelona as well during SPC, so I'm probably gonna head to that. I'm jumping in there. So.
Yes, actually, we are planning from our team. We are planning to attend Barcelona as well. We'll be 4 people at Barcelona, I think, and so hopefully we can pass by the Sigma dinner as well. And then 2 of us are going to IGB Amsterdam as well. So it seems that Barcelona is the event that a lot of people are going to. It really picked up here recently. And I know that Nico, you are going as well to Barcelona, right? You are speaking.
Indeed, I will. Indeed, I will. So, first of all, good morning from my end as well. Yeah, I'm looking forward to these events again. And there are rumors going around that Karolina has already participated at one of these events. How was it getting back a little bit to the normal life again, Karolina?
It was very good. As you can hear from my voice, and the night was very good. It was IGA Awards yesterday in London, which followed through to some London sort of shenanigans late that night. So I think the industry was waiting for events because everybody was really up for a party yesterday. That's my child joining in on the Clubhouse session. Sorry.
Amazing. Karolina, can you talk more about the event itself yesterday? Like, how was it? Any cool happenings? Any good winners and so on? What was your review?
No, there was. It was a bit weird, I will have to say, because the IGA Awards, there was a mixture in different categories. There was a mixture of B2B and B2C, which I didn't really understand. And it's the usual where you have live casino nominees and there's a mixture of 1xBet and, Evolution and Leo Vegas in there. And you're just like, okay, what is the criteria that someone would win? Because there are very different categories. They should be different categories. The usual winners, Betson, socially responsible operator, and so on. But it was fun. There was a lot of people. There was no restrictions, no mask sort of requirement. And it was great weather in London. So I think that made everyone even more excited to try to go out. Quite a big attendance as well. Henry, 1 second. Sorry, I have to switch off because I'm eating breakfast with my child, so he's going to be interrupting the whole time. But overall, great to be back at events, and I think everybody really enjoyed yesterday.
Good to hear that it's not only me who is a bit under the weather today, in other words. And James King, nice to have you on the stage for the first time. It's been a long time coming. How are you, James?
It has. I'm good, thanks, mate. I think there's a difference between being under the weather and hungover as well, isn't there?
Yeah, same but different, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm just looking at event booking at the moment, debating whether to go to Barcelona, but like you said, it seems more and more in the last few days have made that decision. So I think I'm now leaning towards going at least for a couple of days.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to strike up a dinner or something there, James.
Hey, that'd be perfect. Perfect.
Amazing. Actually, it's great timing that you are here today, James, because I just read an article on Flow, the company that you have taken over now as CEO. And once we get the discussion going here today, I'd love to hear your vision for Flow and why it will disrupt the iGaming industry. So prepare your elevator pitch, okay?
Ah, but then you're taking away from my iGaming next one. Aren't you? So you can't give away too much at the minute.
You have to do it as a teaser, James.
A little teaser, perhaps.
Little teaser. Very good. All right, good. But nice to have you here, James, as well with us this morning. Looking forward to going into deeper about the new product later. Until then, Peter, nice to have you back here as well, and good morning to you. How are you doing?
Good morning, everyone. I'm good. Preparing for Barcelona and Amsterdam, so looking forward to those trips. Currently I'm in Riga. It's kind of gray and it's very cold, so definitely looking forward to get some sun and meet some people. How are you, Pierre? I heard yesterday there was a holiday in Malta, so I guess everyone had a good time.
To be honest with you, we are a month away from our event, iGaming NEXT. So right now there's not that much public holidays as far as we are concerned. But I was gonna say, Peter, as a full-fledged extrovert, it must be you must be like a kid at Christmas now with all the events coming up, no?
I wouldn't call myself full-fledged extrovert, but yeah, look, it's nice that events are back, and over the last few days, I think Barcelona has gained lots of visitors, and all I keep hearing is I'm going to Barcelona and I'm dropping Amsterdam. But let's see, it's going to be fun. Barcelona is always good fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a good destination for a large conference at the end of the day. But Barcelona, in the summer, you don't really say no to go in there. So I think they seem to have done a good job, SPC, to pull that off, especially considering that it's the first time that conference is taking place. So it'll be very interesting to see. Yeah, very, very
Absolutely.
interesting.
And I'm very surprised by Amsterdam as well, that Clarion actually managed to get the sort of like easy pass for the people coming outside of EU for the conference, and not quarantining. That was a big news, I think, big game changer.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, Rory, you used to work for Clarion, obviously. You mentioned that Amsterdam usually have something like 30% of the attendees are UK based. So the exemption obviously is going to be very helpful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think like Jan, I was quite surprised they managed to pull it off. But you know, they that's part of I suppose organisers' jobs is to make life a lot easier for delegates. So they were obviously working very closely behind the scenes and hard behind the scenes to make it all work. So yeah, I'd say my days at Clarion, it was about 30-35% were UK based. So I'm sure that comes as a big relief for them, you know, to be able to house those people as well. So, and again, just to reiterate what everyone else is saying, I'm actually hearing mixed reviews. Sorry, I'm in a coffee shop at the moment, but I'm hearing mixed reviews in terms of who's going where. So, I mean, I can't tell you if there's going to be more at one than the other, but I think what is very true is that people do want to get back to networking and getting to see each other again. So, long may that continue for the next couple of months.
I think it's great that they managed to pull off the exemption, but do you not also think it's slightly ridiculous that people can't go and visit their families without quarantine or friends, but delegates to a gambling conference are exempt? I mean...
Well, I mean, yes and no. I'm just speaking from... I think... you put me on the spot here, but yeah, no, I think it is a bit... I suppose a bit... challenging for in that sort of sense, but you know, for our industry, I suppose you know, we're here to do business, and you hope that those people are sensible enough to take their lateral flow tests and everything like that when they get back, and that they are sensible enough to not socialise when they come back. So I suppose it's down to the individual at the end of the day, you know, whether they're sensible enough to make sure that they stay out of people's way if they are feeling sick or feeling a bit under the weather. But you know, at some point, I think we've just got to accept that this is here to stay, and as long as people adhere to the rules, then we should be okay.
No, of course, don't get me wrong. I think it's great for Clarion to be able to do that. I'm just saying about the authorities. That is just inconsistent approach, and it doesn't make any sense.
I think look, there's a lot of political pressure. The RAI is one of the biggest venues in Holland, I believe. So I think, you know, they're probably torn by the political sway of it, the revenue that it brings in. You know, these, you know, London Excel, Ice London brings in copious amounts of revenue for the City of London over and above what Clarion used to make. So you know, I think Tourism Authority probably had a bit of a say in it and probably weighed it up. I'm sure they'd do an analysis, but yeah, I mean, it is interesting, I suppose, to sort of see into it and maybe pot calling kettle black, but I suppose get a start at some point.
Yeah, it seems like, I mean, all over Europe, I think jurisdictions are agreeing that it's time to open up. I mean, even Sweden, who is quite, even though Sweden was quite lenient, let's say, during the pandemic, with not closing down and things like that, they were still very strict on amount of people who can gather together. So, for example, you weren't allowed to organize events and so on in Sweden, and Sweden generally is quite conservative in these things. But even Sweden now opened up for sporting events, for example, to lift all restrictions by end of September. And so it seems that we are kind of agreeing now that we are moving past the pandemic to some extent. In Malta, they're still opening up slowly for events. So we are still quite restricted what we can do in Malta, which is like really surprising considering that we have the highest vaccination rates in the world, and we still have quite low case numbers and so on. But the health minister here is still scared that there might be a new wave of infections like what happened last year after summer. So from let's say, October, November onwards. So they are hesitant to kind of open up everything at one go. And that obviously, I think, as most of us here in the panel know, perhaps now, is that that affects Sigma obviously, and in November, who needs to have these big numbers in order to pull that conference off. And I think Emman is currently floating the idea to potentially move the event to Berlin. And what they have communicated to Sigma is that they will take a decision tomorrow on what's going to happen with the conference. Both Sigma and us at iGaming NEXT, we are trying to work with the health ministry at the moment in order to get exemptions. So for iGaming NEXT, we are okay with the restrictions, but we would like an exemption anyway, so that we can host more people. But
those restrictions, 500 people.
Yeah, restrictions right now in Malta, the restrictions are 500 people seated.
To an extent, do you not think that's going to improve quality? Like you have the other event you mentioned there that, with thousands and thousands of people attending, it's quite hard sometimes to sort of get through to the people you want to specifically meet. Perhaps with this restriction, maybe better having 500 quality people in a conference or room than thousands.
Yeah, no,
to look at it.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said about that. I mean, there's two different ways to organize these type of events. Either you focus on quality of delegates or quantity of delegates, and I think both have their own arguments, the both pros and cons, so to say. I mean, Power 50 is great for one reason, and ICE is great for another reason, let's say. But in our case, for iGaming NEXT, I mean, we are a conference, so it's a seated event anyway. So we are quite okay. We just want that number to go up a bit. But regardless, like you say, James, I mean, 500 quality delegates will make for a very good event, of course, and that's our focus at the moment. This is to make sure that we get the right people there, and then of course it affects us financially, of course, because we can't really sell that many tickets. But at least the event will turn out great, and it gives a good impression, and then we can build on that for next year. But yeah, so it remains to be seen what happens here with Sigma. I don't know if anyone ever heard anything more, but the latest I know at least is that tomorrow the decision will be taken. What's going to happen there? So yeah, with that being said. Nico, I mean, absolutely legendary. I know that you have been preparing another weekly insight of what's happening in the iGaming industry, the latest and greatest, and the best update that we can possibly get for this industry. So, Nico, why don't you take over here and introduce to us what has happened in the last 7 days, please?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for handing over the mic, and thanks for giving me the kind of stage to once again walk us through what has happened within the last 7 days. So each and every of the upcoming breaking news could easily fit and full the overall Clubhouse session. So I'd like to keep 2 of them short, and one of them a little bit, I'd like to extend it a little bit. So bwin becomes the sponsor of the UEFA Europa and Conference League in a groundbreaking deal. So what we have seen from the US, that operators are specifically aiming to sponsor big leagues or teams, and bwin in the past, if you just remember when they have been on the jersey of Real Madrid, AC Milan, it seems like they're getting back on track. And for sure, we will see something happening. So they are cooperating with the UEFA, and they will also participate in programs from UEFA aiming for responsible betting, sports integrity, safeguarding activities, which they will all set up with UEFA. Then the Gausselmann Group, they completed the acquisition of the Westspiel, which is roughly 142 million euros. So there are 4 premises which the Westspiel operates in North Rhine-Westphalia. So it's Yeah, it's an acquisition, a three-digit acquisition, and for sure, the former state-owned premises are now handed over to a private operator. And now this is just big news, which has just been confirmed. 888 acquires William Hill International in a 2.2 billion pounds deal. So the rumors that 888 is the runner-up and the possible winner started spreading on Tuesday. If you just remember that within the Caesars-owned William Hill sale, the biggest operators, they just entered the ring. To just name a little, some of them: Apollo, Betson, Entain, Kindred, Fred Dunn, the owner of Betfred, Tipico, and also a Boston-based private equity fund named Advent International. So this is the who's who of each and everyone being operating or holding operations within the gaming industry. And for sure, we will see some things happening in Europe as well. So 2.2 billion pounds is quite a significant amount of money, because in the end, Caesars, they never spoke about this in public, but they were aiming for 1.5 billion euros. And now they come up with at least 2.2 billion pounds. It's a nice increase, and we will see what 888, the former Just Online operator, now does actually with the retail business of William Hill as well. Heading over to the US. Last week, I introduced you into the state of Arizona, which will start just in time for the NFL new league. There had been some legal challenges as one of the tribes based in Arizona took this to court. It's called the Yavapai Prescott Indian tribe, and they put the overall licensing process at risk. But now we have a Superior Court decision in Arizona granting that the House Bill 2772 will be put active, which means the sports betting licenses to 10 operators and 10 tribes will become reality just by beginning of today's National Football League start. Another interesting news: IGT splits businesses with a new digital and betting segment. So they are specifically splitting the overall businesses, and now they have 3 businesses running. It's the it's the global lottery and the global gaming division, and now they also implemented the digital and betting segment, which will be run by Enrico Drago, and they specifically are doing this as they want to extend their footprint in the US. So for sure, we will see some further moves by the International Game Technology, IGT, in the US as well. The sports betting revenue in Colorado jumps to roughly $16 million in July, despite the overall handle of wagers dropped. The revenue was significantly higher than last year on a year-to-year basis, and the overall handle the sports betting revenue was $15.4 million. Unfortunately, we cannot be joined by Daniel Gretzer, who is running CEO and founder of Carousel Group, and they are also running MaximBet. And MaximBet, they just debuted in Colorado as well. So just remember the numbers we've just heard. 1 month, roughly $16 million in revenue, and MaximBet just launched in Colorado as well. Maybe Daniel will join us on a later stage. He's just in morning meetings. But as soon as he will join, maybe he will walk us a little bit through what is happening at MaximBet. Last week, I already talked about Double Down Interactive doing their IPO and aiming for $114 million to gain within this IPO. Yesterday, they just released the numbers and they pretty much pinned down and nailed the aimed $114 million which they were aiming for. So for sure, we will see some further growth of the Double Down Interactive and or even further M&A activities. Another big IPO we are desperately waiting for is Sportradar. Sportradar, they just released a statement that they're about to sell 19 million shares and they are aiming to raise roughly $500 million with this IPO. Fun fact is, with these 19 million shares, only 2.3% of the overall shares will be available or will we put to sale, which means that the overall market value of Sportradar is as of now $30 billion. And these are just insane numbers. If you just think about what Pierre walked us through, that they already had an offer to do a SPAC, an SPAC for $10 billion, and they declined this offer. So they are aiming for the bigger with $30 billion. Pierre, do you want to add something on this note?
No, I mean it's just incredible. 30 billion. That puts them at something like the third or fourth biggest gambling company in the world. In other words, Sportradar. That's just absolutely massive. Really interesting to hear. So it seems that the valuation is just rising and rising on Sportradar.
Exactly, and these $30 billion is just the value as of now. So we will for sure even see higher numbers as soon as they will actually go public on the NASDAQ. Heading over to the legal side. Back in the days, like 2 or 3 months ago, we talked about the EGBA, the European Gaming and Betting Association, and how much the EGBA is actually worth as soon as it comes to representing operators on European level. As of now, they are joined by Flutter. So one of the operating giants actually joined the EGBA. So for sure they are aiming for the bigger, and I'm pretty sure their footprint has just been enlarged by this as well. Flutter still on the news as they set a monthly net deposit limit for under 25 years of age players for the UK and Ireland customers. So as of now, £500 per month as a net deposit limit, and then it will be over. So maybe this is related also to the joining the EGBA. We don't know for sure, but as soon as one of the tier 1 operators just sets a monthly net deposit limit for under 25 years of age of £500, we see that player protection will be taking very, very serious. Yeah, that's it from my end, and looking forward to the discussions.
Very good, Nico. Thank you so much for that fantastic wrap up once again. And just to add to Flutter's £500 monthly deposit limit, it seems to be in connection with the UK government conducting its review of the Gambling Act of 2005, and perhaps it's Flutter's way of preempting stricter regulation by showing that they are taking action before the regulators, so to say. It seems that would be the reason, like the main reason why Flutter would take such a decision, because it's only in Ireland and the UK that this new restriction will be in effect for the customers. They're also saying that they have conducted in-house research and basically concluded that customers in their early 20s are more at risk in general. They are finding their own economic freedom. They are moving away from home, and they are and so on. So basically, Flutter is saying that based on their own research, that is why they are implementing this restriction in order to protect their customers that are under 25. So yeah, quite interesting. So I'd like to start this discussion today, what I mentioned before, with James, of the CEO of Flows, which is a company which is founded by Robin Eric Reed, former CEO of GIG. Obviously, James just joined recently as the CEO, and I know that Flows has a humble goal of kind of disrupting the entire industry. So that's enough reason to dig deeper into what you guys' goals are and what services you will be providing. So James, I hope you have prepared your elevator pitch here, because we'd love to hear more about this project.
Yeah, as said, you've nicely put me on the spot with that one. And I can give a little bit, but you touched on it there, right? I guess the why first, and the why is that we've built Flows to empower more people, entire organizations of people with the ability to drive change and innovate ultimately. The sort of boring headline, I guess, of Flows is that there's a platform, or not a platform, but we call ourselves a data integration and application platform that is used to empower the organization to connect apps, innovate, and drive digital automation. But the key thing is without the need to code. So ultimately, we connect and sit there and we ingest, we listen to any event or data stream or API that you point at us. So think of it like a hose of information coming into Flows. And then we give you the most intuitive interface to be able to customize and interact what you then do with that information that's coming in, and then push it back out to, again, any sort of data point, any API, whether it's your front end, another database, a messaging service like Slack, you name it. But ultimately, as said, what's awesome with Flows is that it takes that reliance away from product or tech being the only ones that can build features or sort of drive any true digital change with the company, and allows any person within a company to do it, whether you're in the accounting team, KYC, if you're in the marketing team. If you have an idea or something that you want sort of to do with your site or your back end, you've now got the sort of skill set to do it, having or not having the ability to code previously. So that's sort of our kind of premise of what we're basing the build and the whole product around. And it's something that we've just not seen in our industry, or to be honest, in others. So I'm really excited to kind of bring it in, and we're excited sort of with the first few people we've been showing Flows to, or kind of Flows 1.0. It still needs a bit of design work and a bit of front end love, but the functionality is there, the architecture is there, it's running. We've got a couple of people live running a few Flows. You touched on a good example actually just then with the one of many examples of what Flows can do with the player protection that Flutter introduced. Or the CEO mentioned a few days ago on LinkedIn that they brought the deposit spend limit down for under 25. So seeing that, I thought this is a great use case to just sort of show what we can do with Flows, and actually messaged their CEO afterwards, because we then built that functionality for our operators, but we built it in about 35 minutes using flows. So every time someone registered, it sort of goes, checks age, and then you can basically run a few if, but, or scenarios, and ultimately it will stop based on age and amounts that are going in. So that's quite a cool way to kind of highlight the speed at which you can drive change with flows.
Awesome. Is there any similar services within the iGaming industry at the moment? Or you guys?
No, not that's, I think, kind of truly holistic like this, because again, you know, and this is what's been quite interesting, obviously, in these early stages of showing just a handful of people kind of flows, demoing it, that everyone's kind of seeing it for different use cases. In this first instance, I think looking at where they can implement it and kind of get some quick wins. So some are thinking, well, we're building out at the moment a new piece of technology, and actually flows will speed up that build. Or using flows will mean we don't need to bring in additional tech support, for example, because even for the architects, it gives them a really easy to use toolkit that can speed up process. Then others look at it and go, well, actually, you know, here's something we can put in place for, or to support kind of our CRM system, because it can add additional customization to player journeys. Like, we recently integrated a weather API, which was quite good fun, actually, when some of the people are building flows, because every time someone registers or logs into a site, we firstly locate where that person is, then go away and find out what the weather is, where that person is. And so people are sort of offering, as an example, like a sunny free spin bonus because they realise it's raining where they are, to cheer them up. So there's multiple use cases.
For customers in the UK, you can just have that as a standard flow without...
I think they'd give away too many bonuses then, wouldn't they? If that was just, a weather one for here. But you can get really specific to, like, just talking on the weather or the geolocation to, for example, like a football stadium or a cricket pitch. So if you know that certain temperatures or humidity, I don't know, affects the spin of a ball in a game of cricket, then perhaps you can then change or offer slightly different odds kind of in play on that. So there's a load of things. Another example recently is someone had had a downtime on a payment system, and it was a few hours until they realised that deposits weren't being made and withdrawals weren't being able to happen. Obviously, they realised after a few hours and fixed it, but that's terrible experience both for the casino and the players. So as a result of that, the next day they built, I think within about 40 minutes, a warning system for that. So basically, if the system's picking up that things payments aren't going through on different payment methods, you know, after 2 minutes or something, send a message to the payment team and alert them. So, I mean, like, it's a bit of a sort of cringe throw, but we basically say, like, if you think it, you can flow it. And that's sort of truly what Flows is offering.
If you think it, you can flow it. I love it, yeah, exactly.
I've got loads of those. I'm trying to get the ones out that will cause people to cringe least. But I mean, we're in early stages. There's, we've got work to do. There's frustrations. There's huge wins and excitements. It's up and down all the time, but it's a lot of fun. Yeah,
it seems to be a wider underlying trend in the tech community, right? That to kind of democratize these traditionally complex systems, like to design a poster, you have to be an expert in Photoshop, for example, or like what you are doing, building these flows, you have to be an expert programmer. Whereas now, as we move forward, there are tools to enable the everyday person to be able to design posters or to build softwares and so on. It really seems that is where things are heading in general.
Yeah, exactly. Sort of, it's more of that self-service kind of automation that again allows people to do a lot more than perhaps they would have been able to before, or would have required certain skill sets or degrees to ever kind of think of doing themselves. And we see it, as you say, in a lot of other areas, whether it be digital or outside of that, in personal life or with business. Yet, when it comes to this type of build, and I mean, I think everyone knows what it's like to have these horrible kind of cumbersome product roadmaps and procedures, especially sort of if you sit on another platform, if the tech's not in-house and you decide that you want to, I don't know, make a feature change, have a product request, want a new integration, and you're there writing justification docs, doing a whole load of stuff to then get on a product roadmap and then maybe have something delivered to you in, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, and probably at quite a high cost as well. And I think that just seems crazy when, again, you see sort of other areas that, like with everyone being a bit liberal in, for example, like opening up their APIs and just allowing people to do things themselves. And, especially here we don't. Or don't yet. Hopefully Flows is going to change that.
Very exciting.
Liberalize thinking and innovation for everyone, we hope.
If you think it, you can flow it. That's it.
Exactly. It's as simple as that.
Is there anyone else in the panel that has questions on James's project on flows and things? I don't want to take over here too much.
No, exactly. I'll keep putting me on the spot.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a question, James, if I may. Like, there's a lot of like API companies out there, not in iGaming, but like sort of, generally speaking. Which ones are you closest sort of related to? I know Postman, for instance. Is it like Postman, or how can we imagine this?
Yeah, elements of it, or like there's a really good one that is quite basic, but it's good as for quick wins. Is Zapier. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, of course.
Zapier is cool because it sort of connects more like internal systems. So, you can ask it to automate if you receive an email that has an Excel file, say automatically like save the X file here or push it through to my Slack. So that's the type of, I guess, decision-making type platform that you should sort of have in mind when thinking of us. And then we're kind of taking that level of ability with customization of quite a few steps further.
Yeah, understood.
Cool. Any other questions on Flow here while we have James on the spot?
I'm happy to take questions off site, or if anyone wants to call, or even to have a look kind of under the hood of Flows. As said, we're not fully at a show the world product ready stage, but we're kind of happy if people are happy to look at something that's not had the makeup put on yet and hadn't had these sort of technical beauticians in.
Or meet you at iGaming Next.
They can meet us at iGaming Next for sure. Just having quite a cool video made for that. I'm excited for iGaming Next. Excited and slightly nervous, but in equal measure, we'll be there.
That's good. That's what you're supposed to be. Half excited, half nervous. That's when you produce the best result.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially when it's something that a few of us have been working on for a while and it's quite close to us, then you're nervous for the reaction, right? Bring something to market and then you have silence. It's scary, but I hope it won't be that. It's not been so far.
For sure. Well, you have a couple of supporters here at least, James, so you can remember us when at least. Good stuff.
Yeah. When 888 come chasing, or
very good. All right, thanks James for introducing us to this. Sorry to put you on the spot here, but I thought it's quite interesting.
You've been wanting to do it for a while, so I couldn't keep avoiding it.
Exactly. Very good. While we're on the topic of new exciting projects and things like that, I mean, Peter, you were also starting your project. It's Spinwise, it's called, I believe. And while we're on the topic of this, promoting kind of new starters here and new exciting companies, can you give us an update on what's happening on your front, Peter? That'd be interesting.
Well, yeah, and it's still in development, although we've sort of launched all the products are running. Basically, it's a new gaming platform, and I wouldn't say it's a soft bet 2 or a coin gaming group, but like it's something in the making, and I'll definitely have more to share in Barcelona and in Amsterdam But for now, it's just a bit of like James said, it's just lots of work, and then hopefully at some point we'll come out with a proper presentation, and we're not going to leave the market, let's say, quiet, and the feedback is going to be positive. But yeah, there's lots of works behind the scenes now, so not very confident to go in lots of details, but yeah, soon, it's coming soon.
Fair enough. I just wanted to give you some compliments because I'm a sucker for brands. I love brands in general, and you guys really created like a really cool brand actually. So like if I know you're too shy to promote yourself here, Peter, but the website is live. It's spinwise.com, and I'm just in love with the brand in general. So just some small compliments from my end.
Thanks, Jerry.
Very good, very good. Cool. And I want to jump over as well, just as a little general update. I mean, today, without much of a deeper topics that we have prepared for the conversation today. But John, I mean, on the endorphina side of things, can you talk a little bit, like, just generally? Endorphina has been around forever, and you've had a recognizable brand for a long time. Like, what do you see as the future for your company? Like, what's your vision for Endorphina as you go into the
That's a good question, and actually interesting timing that you bring this up, because I believe we kind of found ourselves, I would say, like 3 years ago in some specific spot, and understood who are our players, what are our strengths, where we're gonna continue target, and what will be the general modus operandi. Because before it was like trying to find out how things work, what's the market, and even though I love all this theory crafting, trying to understand where are the new things, looking at the leaders in innovation in the slot, in the product. I feel most of the time that a lot of innovation is done in a way that is not visible. Things that you do inside the company, that you agree on a different mode of how you will handle your customers, how you will target players, find things that help you perform better, like the games perform better, but it's not that visible. I don't want to say too much, but let's say that there is a principle that I believe quite strongly, that if you find a secret or some information that helps you work, then that will be the pillar on which you will grow your company. And you can either find it during working by just like doing stuff randomly and then finding out, okay, this works. And at some point it's worth sharing it with everybody. But I don't believe that this is the point for us, because we have a very specific niche, very specific way how we want to deliver the games. And to be honest, the future right now is more about improvement of the inside of the works of the company. Maybe a little bit about creating a better environment for the employees, creating some not incentives, but let's say some feeling that they can participate more on the company's either results or presentation. So we're doing quite strong employee branding, depending on who is in the company for how long, because obviously you don't want to start strong promotions with some newcomers in the company. But we feel this is like one of these incentives for the person because we like to grow them and show them to the world and see that, look, this is a person that we're proud of. And at the same time, we're helping this person to create his own personal brand. So if I can like remember at the beginning, we had a very strong marketing for the company. We wanted to make a buzz, show that, we are here, we arrived, like, look at us. Sometimes we did it in a very nice way. Sometimes we did it in a way that irritated a lot of people. And I believe right now the best way how to promote the company is through the actual people, not through like claiming, look, we are like this big and we make this much and we can do all of this for you. But we're focusing on, look, there is this person in the company that can do this for you, and this person will fight for you as a client, as you are our client, and this guy will be specifically for you. So this is what we are focusing more right now. If I would talk about product plans, I would say at this moment there is so much competition, like new studios, in-house studios of operators. It's getting out of hand. And if we would suddenly decide right now, okay, let's turn the ship around. Let's become like this crazy trendy studio, then I think we're gonna shoot ourselves in the foot. So at this stage, we need to look very carefully what is happening in the industry. We need to study what the new flexible guys come up with, and basically then make our own decisions. Because if we start to compete with the flexibility of these startups, then I think we can start laughing at ourselves because it's stupid.
Yeah, that's the thing on the game studio side, right? So it's not necessarily the most difficult project in the world to set up the infrastructure in order to build really great casino games, right? It's there's a lot of studios who are doing a really good job. So like as a bigger studio, John, like how do you have an edge against the smaller team and their flexibility and creativity?
Well, the funny thing is like I'm talking about studios, you're talking about studios. These guys, if you dig deeper, they have a huge distribution problem ahead of them. And there is now like very well structured companies that have very well thought technical and business model how to capture these studios. Microgaming was the first one. They made some mistakes, I believe, because the studios didn't stay with them and they started to off-spin. But I'm sure that the Relax and Yggdrasil models of how to capture the studios and keep them in their ecosystem are very well thought. They give a very good proposition. The value that you gain as a startup from these guys, it's enormous because they just offer you like, look, just come to us and we give you everything. But then after some time, when you start making money or you have a hit game, suddenly you may realize that actually you don't own the game, even though it's on your servers, and then you cannot distribute where you want. You're gonna have to go where your main distribution goes. And this, I believe, it's definitely our edge. We chose the hardest way how to work, and we picked basically up the old school model, and we do things directly with customers. If we have an opportunity to work with somebody directly, we are willing to set up a small infrastructure inside our company that will be there for this customer. We want to make direct deals as much as possible, and this was the goal from the beginning of the company. So you can see that officially that when we announced that we're entering some market, it's not because we gained a partner there that will distribute us, but it's because we sit down and we did all the hard work that other companies either don't want to do or it's in their business model that they will never do it. So I think this is our edge. We just sit down and do the hard things that people just don't like to do anymore.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You walk through the fire, let's say, in order to become a tier one. Thank you for that, Jan. I'm mindful of time here, and I'm really happy as well to welcome on stage Peter Paul. Detroit is the managing director of Noga, the Netherlands industry organization for gambling. And I'm really curious to ask you, Peter Paul, of the latest developments in the Netherlands, and if there's been any news from your jurisdictions in the last couple of weeks and months.
Thanks, Pierre. It's good to be back after being away for probably 2 months or 2.5 months, I think. There has been a lot going on. People are getting jittery. People are getting fidgety. The 1st of October is nigh, as they say in Old English. As a result, things are heating up. We see the land-based companies that want to enter the online market on October 1st. We see them doing their exercises along the field. So they are warming and flexing their muscles already. Big sponsorship deals have been signed with let's say the Dutch first division football, with Holland Casino, for instance. Also, most notably, I happened to see the state lottery making a few, let's say, they were breaking the law basically by advertising to minors. We see some cracks already before the market really opens. So things are really, really tense at the moment, I would say. It's a good tension, and it's really exciting, of course. And on the Noga side, yesterday we welcomed a new member, so we now have 10 members. Tombola, the bingo operator, very well-known bingo operator from the UK, joined Noga. And we continue to grow, so hopefully I can, share a little bit of new members over the coming months. And so it's really exciting.
Awesome, thank you for that, Peter Paul. It's 1st of October is getting closer, that's for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
And finally, as well, I'd love to have Robert chime in as well. Obviously, you're CEO, founder of Hölle Games, German-based game studio, and I know that you are really in tune with what's happening in Germany at the moment. So, as a little bit to start rounding off today, Robert, can you share a little bit if there's been any news from Germany in the last couple of weeks?
The short answer, not much, really. I think there hasn't been any big movements, let's say. At least I'm not aware of any big movements or changes or anything. But this medium-sized news, let's say, is like a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, the German state Sachsen-Anhalt, which is currently sort of answering all questions, has released some frequently asked questions where a few things all operators asked were answered. I think there were hardly any surprises. The one thing which surprised me a little, and I read through these FAQs up and down 3 times. I already gave a short interview as well with a media outlet about it. It's going to be a weird certification process of games. The way it's currently written in the FAQs and answered is that the state or the de facto regulator will only need a game link to verify and approve a game for the German market. So, and they won't do the same standards, it seems, and the way it's written currently, it seems they won't, have the same standards as we currently have in other markets, MGA, Gibraltar, UK, anywhere, Denmark, anywhere, where you have to go through, a certification process like ITEC or GLI or so on. This is my current understanding. Let's see what really happens. But the way it's written is they want a link That's it, a playable link to review. And all the reviewing really is if the games adhere to the German rules, meaning the €1 stake, the 5 seconds rules, and so on. So that's either a mistake or a loophole or something. Certainly, it's a little bit weird, but again, not really big news, but sort of medium-sized news and interesting to watch what's going to happen with that particular subject.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Robert. And to start rounding off a little bit here as well, I'm sorry we haven't been able to give everyone space to bring up their own views and opinions here today. But Bogdan, what did you learn today? And do you have any comments here of the discussion today? And then I'd also like to ask the same thing to Katie as well before we round off today.
Yeah, well, I've been listening carefully to what has been said, and just nothing to add from my side in regards to that. However, this big news about the acquisition of William Hill, that is something what actually proves that the more acquisitions which has been on its way from the couple of months actually are now come to the real life. So we should be expecting a little bit more of them. So that's my only comment, as I've been trying to absorb the knowledge coming from the previous speakers and think first a little bit about it. So nothing to add from me at this stage.
Awesome. Thank you, Bogdan. You're absolutely right. The acquisition of Will Hill for £2.2 billion of 888 is absolutely massive news, of course. And I saw that our good friend Pierre Lindh of Regulus Partners, he wrote a really nice email this morning in his to his Siemens subscribers, basically detailing the deal and analyzing it. And I haven't had time to read it myself, but his email newsletter is just absolutely a goldmine of information, and I really recommend everyone to sign up. That it was Karolina, like always, who recommended this to me. By the way, just like Karolina recommended Clubhouse to me as well. By the way, but guys, feel free to if you Google Regulus Partners or Paul Leyland, then you can sign up to his newsletter, and he usually sends out an email whenever there's some interesting M&A activity. And finally, as well, to close things out today, Katie, being put on the spot and answering some questions. It'll be really interesting to follow what you're going to do with Robin Reed and Flows. Of course, we'll have your introduction and launch at iGaming Next in October, so really looking forward to that. And it seems that almost everyone on the panel today is going to Barcelona in the end of the month. And so that begs the question if we should organize a in-person Clubhouse meeting, perhaps. Let's think about that for now, and we can follow up on that perhaps. But for now, I'd like to thank everyone. Nico, Karolina, thank you guys again for coming on stage, for being my dear co-moderators, like always, really appreciate it. And everyone coming on stage today, thank you so much. I wish you all a great Thursday. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.